Hello everyone, this is CJNovo982 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video, as you can tell by that deliciously clickbaity title, is going to be the man who's broke Twitter and Instagram with a couple of follows. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today's video we will be talking about Ravel Morrison, but as always, just a friendly reminder in case you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that subscribe button and help the nation get towards that 25k mark. We're doing tremendously well. The challenge has been set. Let's keep that momentum up. And without any further ado, let's not mess about here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's get into it, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Ravel Morrison, the man, the myth, the maverick, the man that's had so many coaches, so many managers, so many clubs trying to unlock that door to the potential that the man clearly has. You go back to the early days at Manchester United when there were stars like Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard, and the man who impressed Sir Alex Ferguson the most was Ravel Morrison. Now, as always, I've spent the last 24 hours trying to read as much as I can about the player so I can bring you all the news in today's video, and the best quote that I've managed to find is from Sir Alex Ferguson himself regarding his exit from Manchester United and why it was one of his most saddest moments in football. So without me blathering on, let's hear from one of the greatest managers of all time. Ravel Morrison might be the saddest case. He possessed so much natural talent as any youngster we have ever signed, but kept getting into trouble. It was very painful to sell him to West Ham in 2012 because he could have been a fantastic player. But over a period of years, the problems off the pitch continued to escalate and we had little option to cut the cord. End quote. And I want to reflect on something that Sir Alex Ferguson said during that little paragraph. He talked about Morrison having as much natural talent as anyone they have ever signed. Can I remind you that they've signed one of the best players of all time, in my opinion, the greatest, Cristiano Ronaldo, and also Pogba, who's worth 150 million right now. Then on the flip side of that, you've got Morrison, who Lazio is willing just to get rid of for nothing, whose contract ends in 6 months, that no club's actually coming to get him. That is an absolute incredible fall from grace, and in today's video I'm going to try and break down how that actually happened, because the man is immensely talented. I can't take anything away from him, but it's off the field, it's training problems, it's attitude problems at football club, it's focus and remaining during actual games that's just caused them overall problems. Like myself, I remember him playing against Spurs when he ran from the halfway line in between like 4 players and dinked Hugo Lloris. That was him at his pinnacle, that was him at his best, and that was him at West Ham United. Sir Alex Ferguson and Sam Allardyce actually talked about Ravel Morrison, and this is what Sir Alex had to say to then West Ham manager. He is a brilliant football player, brilliant ability, top class ability actually. Needs to get away from Manchester and start a new life. I hope you can sort him out, because if you can, he'll be a genius. End quote. And believe it or not, that's pretty much what every single manager since has had him on either loan or actually sold him. That is what they've all said. If only we could have unlocked this. If only he could have worked hard in training. If only he put his head down and worked hard. We could have got 50% of his ability on the field. If only. Unfortunately for Morrison and his time at West Ham, he didn't become that genius. But that one performance where it looked like it was finally going to happen again, it hit the headlines off the field, and on the field it just trickled away, and he was eventually loaned out to 2 championship sides where he had the 1 or 2 games once again where it looked like, right, the manager's got him, he's finally going to reach his potential. But off the field, social media sort of fiascos, and again training issues, busting up with other players, it's kind of affected him on the field. So every time it looks like he's just about to get there, something happens and he falls away and he ends up at another club. Now, before we go any further into the man's player profile, you might be asking yourself, where has this rumour came from, CJ? We like the Rangers rumours, but we want some backstory. Right, the actual backstory is that he's followed 4 players on Instagram. That's it. But believe it or not, that's happened a tremendous amount of times so far in this window alone. Players that's about to move start following players on Instagram, start interacting with them, start liking their pictures, and apparently that is them teasing the signing. But before we move over and break down his overall stats and see what he can do on the field, let's talk about his overall position, and that is centre attacking midfield. Finally, we're signing a cam. Yes! I was so excited when I thought about this. Then I thought about it even more and I went, wait, I want Jermaine Defoe and Alfredo Morelos to play together. Oh no. Now the camera was very, very interesting because if you followed the channel for a long time, I've been crying out for one for a longer time. Someone that can just unlock the doors and create space for Alfredo Morelos. But now there's talks of us putting two up top, which is obviously going to sacrifice one of the midfield players. And you think about our midfield players right now, we've got Ryan Jack, Scotty Arfield, we've got Stephen Davis coming in, we've got Ross McCrory. They are pretty much four on-form players, especially Ryan Jack, who arguably is our best player in the midfield this season. So we're already going to have choices there. But if we bring Ravel Morrison in to play Cam, who else are we going to sacrifice? Are we going to play free at the back and sacrifice Tavernier's ability? Or are we going to put him right mid? Candeas? It creates a whole lot of problems. And the first question I want to ask you is, do we still need a centre attacking midfield player? I'll be very interested to know what your thoughts and opinions are on that one. Very simple question. Do we still need a Cam? Now again, there's no doubt in the man's ability, but what can he actually do beyond the hype, beyond what ifs and if onlys? Let's look at what he's actually doing on the field. He's played 20 games, he's got 3 goals and 0 assists with 4 yellow cards in his most latest season of football. Obviously that was in the Mexican League where we've been a bit hit and miss, in fact all misses, Peña Herrera. But I've actually got to give him credit. From what I can actually read and see, he's actually been given a lot of praise by his manager for his training attitude and the way that he's actually applied himself, because he hasn't played a lot of games. He wasn't always starting the games, he was coming on for games, but apparently his head didn't drop, he didn't give up, and he continued to show fight and spirit, which he didn't show at his previous club. So again, that might be the wee boost, and he could be finally maturing and help him to become that player that he was destined to be. But again, that was just out on loan. His parent club right now is obviously Lazio Football Club. And again, a lot of people, a lot of pundits expected him to resurrect his career out in Italy, away from the spotlight. Unfortunately, from pretty much day one, it just kind of all fell apart and crumbled. The man's only played 6 games overall for Lazio. No goals, no assists. Now his contract for Lazio, by the way, ends in 6 months time, so he would be able to sign on a pre-contract, although his wages are even higher than Stephen Davis was during his time at Southampton. So I don't think necessarily we'll be signing him on a pre-contract. I'm pretty sure it would be a loan sign until the end of the agreement. Lazio honestly just wants rid of him. They don't even care. They're not even pushing for a sale. They just want to get him off the wage book as soon as possible. So a potential loan deal for the rest of the season to see what type of player we've got. And if he does screw the nut, if Gerrard can work his Andy Halliday magic and unlock the true potential to Morrison, this will be an unfreaking believable signing. But stats and history show that doesn't really happen. There's always the hype, but then the inevitable fall. But as always, let's break down his overall stats in his career. He's played 133 games, he's got 22 goals and 8 assists. Now the 8 assists really surprised me, because when I think of Morrison, I'm thinking of talent, technique, skill, creativeness. The last time that Morrison actually registered an assist in football was during the 2013-14 season for Birmingham in the Championship. That was the last time he got an assist. That really blew me away. Like I said, I've got so much hype and expectation for the guy, but when you actually start looking to these stats and what he does on the field beyond the hype and what he could be, it's kind of mediocre. So we have reached the end of the man's player profile. That is his overall stats. Hopefully that helps you in getting involved in the comment section and answer the question that I asked Twitter, and I'm asking you guys right now. Should Rangers sign Ravel Morrison? While you're putting your thoughts and opinions out there, I'm going to give you mine. I would actually say no, which I know is going to surprise a lot of people, but again, that is just my thoughts and opinions. I think our squad is better as it is just now, and yes, it would be a risk, and if it paid off, it would be unbelievable if he can reach what he could be. But again, the past shows that he never quite does that. So that is my opinion, and I'm going to say no, Rangers shouldn't sign Ravel Morrison. Now that we've had our say, let's read what the people has had to say on Twitter. We get it loaded up. 1,400 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. And once again, me and Twitter are just at a disagreement. 42% of the people votes for no, Rangers should not sign Morrison, but 58% of the people votes for yes, Rangers should sign the man himself. So let's see what the people's actually had to say. Roy O'Neill says, yeah, for me, he's an attacking midfield player, which we need, so I would sign him. Jude fires in, aye, only because he will end up half in Scott Brown, but apart from that, I wouldn't bother wasting the money on him. Okay, we've already got someone at half Scott Brown, remember? David Nimmo says, if you can screw the nut in, I think he'd be a very good addition to the squad. Callum Bryce says, haven't heard of him, but after the past year's depth is everything. John Beaton Loyal, would rather have Waldo. Perfect. Alex Horn says, I think Ravel Morrison is past his better days whenever they were. He's not at a good place at Rangers, as simple as that. Ross Watson says, would rather have Connor Salmon. Really? Andrew Wilson says, not another midfield player. Stephen Lapsley says, I'd say no. Content with what we have. Surely be a clean out of the summer with some of the fringe players. Jake Peralta puts in another Pena in the making. Wow. Ross Parker says, we'll become another club who think they can unlock his potential and then realise like the rest that he's just not good enough. That was savage, Ross. Rangers Loyal 72 says, no, not the best when he trains for clubs, but he could eventually become good. Kieran Snagster says, no, his attitude has been his problem his whole career, and we don't need that when we are challenging for the league. And the last 2 or 3 that we'll actually read out come from Mark. He says, yes, would provide great depth, has the potential, and Gerrard wouldn't take any of his shite. Brings that ability to score from behind the striker as well. And the last one we'll read out comes from Mark Stewart. Double marking. Anyway, Mark Stewart says, as a quality player, though he didn't succeed in England, but he's well worth the big wages, however. So there it is. You've sort of had mixed opinions in the comments, but the poll again suggests that the fans want to sign Ravel Morrison. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Also, I just want to give a shout out to the patrons. We have now reached 41. If you would like to help support the channel, the link for that as always will be in the description below. I've been CJNova92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.